Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Okay, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session for school, SKOOL, and this is the CPS school.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Join our school community for free to access weekly live Q&A sessions, or participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.
Good evening and welcome to my podcast to fight CPS and stop taking our children. My name is Bob Pace and I give you a warm welcome. I'm having some computer issues. I spent all day at the computer shop, gave them a $50 fee to diagnose my computer. They said they couldn't find anything, and the same problems I had are appearing. And so I apologize. I did never want to miss a podcast. And so I always am here for you all because I care and I really want to help you. I want to welcome tonight to Tessa. Thank you so much for coming tonight. And you're welcome there, Tessa. Also, Tessa's in California and Shasta County. Also, you have Betty Westerhole, who has a daughter named Faye with a young child. I want to welcome you too, Betty. Thank you for stopping by tonight. And I want to say Betty is from California, if I can remember correctly. Betty, help me out if you're not from California. I think you are. Anyway, I welcome both Tessa and Betty. I think both of you have been on my show and have talked, and I'm so glad to have you here. Tonight, I'm open to anything to talk about. There's no routine. I do talk about my rules. There's 5 rules. I'll talk about how they interact with this podcast. And then I try to help you all with your questions. I'm a family man. I've been a father of 6 children, and I have 42 years of marriage experience. So I've been around the block a little bit. I've been working for over 60 years of my life. And unfortunately, in my later years, supposed to be the golden years, I've had an issue with CPS that has really hurt my job, getting a job, keeping my home. I had to sell my home, and I had to do a quick sell and lost a lot of money on my home. But I needed to get my family back. Montana, I'm sorry, Betty, that's right. The case is in Nebraska, and you're from Montana. That's right. And what it was is I think your daughter and her boyfriend wanted to live in a tree house, and they didn't think that was suitable for the children. Anyway, welcome, Betty. Now, tonight, as I say, I'm open to anything we can talk about. I do want to try to put how you interact with the room. Your first step is you found me on Facebook and you're in this room. that is called Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. And CPS is an awful thing. I call CPS a child protection system. Every one of you, every state, county will have different acronyms or different names to call the CPS. But it's a child protection system. So anytime you use CPS, I mean all the counties, in fact, all the states, and also all the countries that use a government agency to protect our children from abuse and neglect. That's the whole purpose. It's a part of social services in the United States, and our Congress mandated that we need to look after our children. Also supposed to help you in the form of aid with food, shelter, clothing, transportation, educational, and medical benefits, as well as trying to find you a job. That's what they're also supposed to do. And on top of that, if they find it's necessary to break apart our children, they need to do family reunification and get the family back together. That is the purpose. But President Clinton signed into law that made it hard because they give CPS incentive, meaning that they'll pay them money for them to go into foster care and ignore the family reunification. Now, I don't think all CPS agencies think that way, but in my case, it did. And also the case over 700 people I've talked to, it has. So it's really hard. I've done over 900 podcasts, and I've talked to a lot of people. I think I've talked to over 700 people. And I've talked to them from around the world and stuff. So it's one of those things that that I know is a hard agency to deal with. I know that you guys are really hurting. Really, really, really hurting. Oh, it's your brother. That's right. That went to go live in Nebraska. I keep forgetting. Tessa says, can I subpoena myself without my attorney? Well, here's the problem being. If you have no attorney, you can do a pro se, means where you're going to defend yourself. So you don't need to subpoena yourself. If you're defending yourself and you say, I want to be pro se, then you let the court know, and then the court lets you talk. The problem is you have to know the court laws, the things as filing motions to bring something before the judge. There's a lot of things that you have to research on about how to defend yourself and how to present a case before the judge. Now, oh, welcome. I didn't know that my son was home. Let me mute the mic for 1 second. My child. Okay, I'm back. I had to deal with a family issue. As you say, I still got young children. Well, they're now, my youngest is 19, but he was 9 when we got involved in CPS. I've been doing it fighting him for 15 years. Let me see if I can pull up. I'm having trouble. We have a new person. I don't think I've seen here before. Michelle Hood. CP has removed. I have no idea what CP is. I think you're talking about CPS. And you had them remove your child. They removed your children. Yes. Where are you from, by the way? I went too fast. Maybe I need to put that message back up. Okay, Betty says, does both of the parents have to be in court to terminate their rights? If you don't show up to court, they could terminate your rights. You have to be there to fight it. You want to appeal it if they tried to. If their suggestion of terminate your rights, you want to file that motion to appeal it. And that's done by attorney. That's done by attorney. Tessa says the child protection system is what I think Michelle Hood was trying to say. Thank you, Tessa. Michelle, let me put this up on my screen so I can see it better. Oh, boy. I'm going to have to make my screen a little bit bigger to see it. So, okay. You could Tessa subpoena others. You have a legal document you have to serve, and it has to be done by a server who's not party to the person there. So, but if you have an attorney on record, they're the only ones that can subpoena. Now, if I had it to do over again, I would have filed emergency aparte. Yeah, I guess you could. That would be good. Or file corpus corpus. These are all legal terms. You may want to use the layperson because most people don't know them. You know. Also, where are you from, Michelle Hood? Dizzy Dog. What is ex parte? Well, we got someone using these words, so hopefully they can come up with that. And welcome, Dizzy Dog. I don't know where you're from, Dizzy Dog. Dizzy says daughter was taken out of NICU and they have continued to slowly take our visits, and now they're trying to suspend any visits. It's out of control. I feel like I'm in a nightmare. Well, Dizzy Dog, I don't know where you're from, but I'd like to know the city or the county, and also the state. And if you're from another country, it's your country I'd like to know too, besides the city. Because I can tell you a little bit easier if you can kind of tell me what that was there. Michelle Hood says, I'm from San Francisco, but my phone, it's on its last leg. Okay. Well, welcome. And I know San Francisco, that's in California. So I'm welcome there. And we'll try to help you out there. Tessa says, Redding, California, Shasta County. Yeah, that's where I know you are from there, Tessa. And Betty has a daughter who's 15, or she just turned sweet 16. Again, happy birthday to your daughter, Faye, Betty. Now, Betty says the caseworker says, I'm not part of the case. That's because you are the mother of Faye. So you're the grandparent of your son that you're trying to, and that's what she's trying to do. I'm not part of the case, and I get put up on the stand. Does that mean I'm part of the case or not? As a witness, you can be asked by the attorney to talk on behalf of your daughter or something that maybe could help her. Okay, Dizzy Dog is from somewhere in California. Well, San Diego. Okay, welcome, Dizzy Dog from San Diego, California. Betty says, that's not my daughter. It's my niece. I know. Don't you have a young daughter that had a child? She got pregnant at 14. She had the child at 15, and she just turned 16. And it's, I may be confused, Betty, but I thought you're fighting for your granddaughter. I thought that's what you're fighting for, Betty. Michelle Hood, I'm wondering about the gender resurgence. Is it illegal today? And key point has been, so what am I getting out of this? Make them unfit, whether it's my child or not? I need to know more information about you, Michelle. You're from San Diego, California, I think. Oh, that's Dizzy Dog. I don't know where you're from, Michelle. I'm trying to help you out there. No, okay, Betty. So you're not the grandparent, Betty. So I have you confused with somebody else. I thought you had a daughter and that she had a young child and you were worried about your granddaughter. I'm probably completely confused here, Betty. Now, I've talked about how to say your comments and put your first name and your city or county and your state or your country and tell me about your case. Now I got up there to schedule an appointment as a guest. All you have to do is send an email to my show producer, Grace, at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. So if you want to be a guest, I can take up 9 to you. All you have to do is send an email to my show producer, and she'll give you the link and get you on my show. I can take up 9 guests at a time. I want to thank Lori Hiller. I haven't heard you in a while, Lori, but it's good to see you. She comes to my room all the time, and thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the thumbs up. Now, last night we had a guest, Lauren from Florida, and that was really nice. That was really nice. She came from Fort Myers, Florida. Betty says, I'm waiting for my niece in Nebraska. It's my brother's daughter, and I want to know if I'm not part of the case. The caseworker put me up on the stand to ask me questions for attorney asked me. Now, was that the social worker's attorney, or was that your hired attorney, or was that a public defender, that the social workers gave you, or court-appointed attorney? I don't know what attorney it was, and what was the question they were asking you? What were the question asking you, Betty? I'll try to help you on there. So it's your brother's daughter that had a child. So, okay, brother's daughter. Okay, he had a child there. Okay, I see where it'd be niece there. Okay, Again, I welcome all you that are dribbling in. I'm glad you're here. I'm trying to help you out. You got a little bit more explaining to do what you're doing with your case there. Because I right now have a mouse that goes all over the place. My cursor is just something wrong with it. I don't know what it is. Now, I've said about how to do a message. Now, my last thing, the fourth thing to interact with this podcast is call me. There's my number, 626-698-0990. You'll call me on my phone. I use Vonage, and it'll be live. And the other number on the screen, the 888-888-6582, that's the law office of Vincent Davis. If you want to retain him, that's a quick way to talk to him, and you could talk to him then. That's the office staff, and they'll get a hold of Mr. Davis for you. So that number is up there, as well as my number to call me. Now, I do not talk before my podcast or after my podcast. I'm strictly only talk during my podcast time. Only talk during my podcast time. Now, Betty says it was my brother's attorney that put me up on the stand and asked me questions. The court attorney tried to ask me questions too. Yeah, they're going to cross-examine, and they're going to try to do that to you, Betty. I concur with what you're saying. Now, Dizzy Dog says they took her because they sold my wife. They said my wife tested positive for phenylnitrile during the delivery, but we have paperwork saying the hospital gave her phenylnitrile in the epidermal, and the CPS worker deliberately hid it. You see, this is the problem. It's called medical trafficking that CPS does. My rule number 3 talks about it. When you're having a child ahead of time, you make arrangements who can enter the room. You have a list, and you control the list. If a CPS worker shows up, or the police with them, you ask the hospital staff to excuse them from the room. Unless they have a warrant, they have no reason to be in that room. That's just going to upset you and the child, the new child that was born. So do not let them in your room. Do not let them and tell the hospital staff. And you need to work this out ahead of time. You need to instruct the hospital. These are the only people that come into my room. And what happens is that they jump to conclusions. The social worker who happens to work at the hospital hears things, and they make up a story, and they want to take you into custody. Why? Because they're going to get money. Every time a child is taken to foster care, they get money. Some are in the neighborhood of $20,000 a month. That's a lot of money for children, especially when they're investigating over 500,000 children right now across the country. 500,000 children are being investigated. And I'm really, really sorry what a lot of you are going through this, you know. So that was Dizzy Dog there. Okay. Now, Betty, they asked me if I would be taking the child if I was willing to unify the parents back together with the child. And I told them yes, if they were terminating rights, would I be willing to adopt? Well, first of all, you can do temporary guardianship of your brother's daughter's child. You can do temporary guardianship. You don't have to formally adopt him. You can do temporary guardianship. And that way, when the parents are better and they've done what they need to do, then they can take their child back. You don't need to adopt him. And unless he wants you to. That's a lot of work. And I know you said yes, and that's a good thing. That's not a negative thing. And Tessa says, how to properly subpoena the urologist. Okay. There is a court form called the subpoena. It has to be properly filled out. Then you have to hire a server or find someone that's not party to the lawsuit, to this legal matter. And if you find a party, sometimes you got to pay them. They're called process servers. So you're going to serve a subpoena, which in the paperwork is the court or the attorney will have access to it. You can ask the court, but it's a special paperwork that addresses the person you're trying to subpoena. And they should try to help you. I just don't know if you have such a bad CPS that you're working with. A lot of them are really, really, really bad. Does that help you a little bit, Tessa? Tessa further asks, what's it called? A subpoena. You're going to subpoena someone to appear in court. And if it's for you, you want your attorney to subpoena them. If you're trying to do it pro se, that means you're trying to represent yourself. It's very important to use the right form. But you cannot take the form and serve it on the person you want to subpoena. You have to have a server, someone that does it for a living, to do it for you. So if that helps you out, Betty further says they're in the process next month of terminating both parental rights. Question: do the parents want their rights taken away from taking care of the children? And if they do, then yes, you could adopt them, Betty. You could adopt your niece. But it's really important that the parents keep their medical and their educational rights to their children. They determine what school to go to and also what doctor they're going to see. But if they don't want it, then yeah, you want to definitely have them there. You don't want them sent over to foster care or adopted. You don't want them sent over to foster care or adopted. Tessa French is from Northern California, from Shasta County. That's where Tessa's from. She's from Shasta County, and she's in Reddings, California. That's the area, city called Reddings, California. Now, Tessa says her attorney, let me get myself situated because my background is getting messed up here. I have to adjust my computer just so. Okay. Okay. Tessa says, my attorney said she can't afford a witness fee for the neurologist. but you said it's no charge for a subpoena. There's no charge to fill out the form and do the subpoena, but to have someone serve it, some people do charge, especially if you get the sheriffs to do it. You need a person that's over 18 that's not part of this case, and they can do it. Like if you have a friend that's over 18 that's not part of your case, they can serve the subpoena. There is no charge to serve the subpoena, but if you want to hire a professional to serve it, there's a fee for his or her time. Now, Betty says, well, the child has been in foster care for over a year, so they have to terminate their rights. It's 15 minutes out of 22 months to terminate parental rights. I'm not going to argue. If your attorney says that, that means, do the parents want to let their rights of their children decide what school to go to or how to take care of them? That's a sad, tragic thing when parents no longer have the children. That is sad. Now, Tessa says she said that they would have to pay the neurologist even if they subpoena her. Well, here's the thing is, the neurologist has a job. If they're being subpoenaed, they could charge a fee. Now, some people, like good doctors and stuff that want to help out the case, will do it for free. I cannot speak on behalf of your doctors, the neurologists. I don't know if they want to speak, in court of what they're saying, but it's really, really hard. I know it's hard what you're going through. It's not fair. It really is not fair. So the neurologists, they want to do it without charging. That's up to them. I can't guarantee the neurologist will do that because people look at it this way. They're working, and if they are representing, the profession, they will definitely charge a fee. I don't know how much it is for showing up to court. And that could be long hours, That's another thing. Sometimes they meant to be able to testify that same day. They may have testified the next day or what it is. So a subpoena, is a lengthy process. But that forces the person to come to court. Okay, Tessa says, how do I get a social worker removed from my case? What you do is you go to the supervisor of the social workers, the director of the child protection system, and request another caseworker. You can do that. It's best if your attorney does that and not yourself. Now, Betty says the police can do it for free or a friend over 18 years. That's why I said a friend. Now, if the police do it for free, that's great. Maybe the LA County Sheriffs will do it. I'm not LA County, but Shasta County Sheriffs will do it for free. You have to ask around. Now, Tessa further says the director don't want anything to do with it. Well, if the director doesn't help you and asking to replace a social worker, then you have to go to the state level. And if you're California, you have to go to Sacramento and speak to the civil rights coordinator in Sacramento to remove a CPS worker. Or you can talk to the ombudsperson in California, and they'll have to remove the social worker. Hopefully that helps you out. Tessa. Tessa, you'll have to go to the state of Sacramento. Now, Tessa says, when I called the ombuds man before, they could say they only help with children's in foster care system and with special social workers. Well, first of all, if you have an attorney, he knows or she knows how to remove a social worker and replace it. And if the social worker at the Sacramento doesn't work, then you're going to have to go to health and welfare in Washington, D.C. and have them replaced. You'll have to go there. It's a lot of extra work. I know it's nothing that is fun there and stuff. It's a lot of extra work. Now, I'll be right back. I'm only going to go for a minute here. I have to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry for the interruption. Hold on one second. Okay. The question that Tessa was talking about, I thought I gave a pretty good answer. When I called the ombudsperson before, they said they only help with children in the foster care. That's not true. They help out children if they're in the hands of the child protection services. The ombudsperson is supposed to handle disputes. If you have a problem with the CPS director in your area, that's Shasta County, then you have a right to talk to the ombudsperson or the civil rights coordinator. And if that person isn't helping in Sacramento, the next step is Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. And I'm so sorry you're going through that. Can I call these agencies? Yes, you can. You can look them up on the internet. You can look up the civil rights coordinator for CPS in California. You can look up the ombudsperson for California in Sacramento. You can look up the director of the health and welfare in Washington, D.C. And you have to keep going and going. It's a lot of phone call. It's a lot of other things there. Amanda from St. Louis, Missouri. Hey, I'm sorry. I was gone for a few minutes. I had to use the restroom for a quick second. And so I apologize. But I'm glad to see you here, Amanda from St. Louis, Missouri. We have Tessa French from Shasta County in California. We got Betty from Nebraska, who's trying to help her brother. She's from Montana, who's trying to help out her brother and her daughter's niece, or the niece to the Betty in Nebraska. And then we have a couple other people here too. We have, let me see here. We have Dizzy, who's from San Diego, California, and she's here. Then we have Michelle. I forgot already where she's from, but I want to welcome Michelle again. And then we have I don't think Michelle has told me where she's from yet. Dizzy Dog was the one from San Diego. Michelle says, okay, I don't have a city or a state for Michelle yet, Amanda, but welcome. Welcome, Amanda. Welcome you all. We have about 10 more minutes left. I had a late start. My computer's still acting up. I thought for once I could take it to the professionals. I paid them $50, but now I have to go back again tomorrow. That's more gasoline. It's a shame because they did not fix the problem, and they said they couldn't find the problem. So I need to go back and yeah, it's going to be really a tough one. Oh boy. Now, Tessa has a problem with changing social workers. And you can certainly talk to those agencies. Now, thank you very much for the thumbs up. I appreciate all the emojis that you have in this room. And that came from Lori Hiller, who's been on my show, I think, for a year. She is usually behind the scenes, but she definitely has been very supportive of my podcast. Now, are there other questions? We have about 10 minutes. I can take a phone call. Again, you can call me at that number. If you are texting messages, either a comment or question, hold on, I put the wrong one there. When type in a message, either a comment or a question, please list your first name and your city or county and your state. Now, if you're from a country, please list your country because this is a worldwide podcast. Now, if you want to be a guest on our show, all you have to do is email our show producer, Grace at Vincent W. Davis, and she'll get you scheduled to be our guest. We had the girl from Fort Myers, Florida, last night. She found the show and she wanted to talk, so she made reservations for a guest. Now, if you talk on the show or you're a guest, you get a free 15-minute consultation with Mr. Davis, a Zoom consultation, private Zoom meeting with Mr. Davis. And for 15 minutes, you can ask all the questions you want about your case, about CPS, and about this or that or anything else. And lastly, my phone number is up, and it's 626. Well, I did have it up. Where'd it go? 626-698-0990. Now, it's a different number, but that's where you can call me live, and I can talk to you about that. Now, Tessa says, we have trial January 2nd. That's next week. With the state get involved if I call tomorrow? Well, you got nothing to lose. Sacramento is open. You want to look up the number of the civil rights coordinator for CPS in California. And I would start calling them right away at 8 o'clock and continue to call them all day till you reach them. And then you could tell them that your case. Now, see, you could ask for a continuance on the January 2nd trial. If you had an attorney, they could turn in a paper that says we want to continue the trial until you get a new social worker. They can do that, but you have to ask the judge. You have to fill out a motion in the court that you want a continuance. But it's a good reason to ask for them because you're changing social worker because the social worker isn't working out for you. So you can ask for a continuance. And if you have an attorney, that will help you. So you're going to have to lose by calling tomorrow. I would call them. I have an issue right now with my bank, Bank of America. And they now only do appointments. You have to drive to talk to them. Well, this bank is so stupid. I had a safety deposit box back in the 90s. I closed it in 2004, but now it's 2024, and they think I have a safe deposit box and want me to give the keys, which I don't have. And I've been trying to call them for 2 weeks. I went there and met with the worker. They said they'd call me back, but they didn't do so. And so now I have to go in person and drive up north, and it's more gas, more mileage. It's terrible. Just like tomorrow with the computer guy. I have to go out to the computer store. That's more money, more gas. But I don't know what to do there. I'm so beside myself because I paid good money and they couldn't take care of the one problem. It was. So anyway, You need to get the social worker to change, and you're going to have to ask for a continuance. You got to ask for a continuance. Now, I do have 5 rules. I've talked to one about the one rule is you need to hire an attorney. Your court-appointed attorney or public defender will not defend it because they're not trained. They're only trained in criminal law. You're in juvenile family defense law. And I have an attorney. His name is Vincent Davis. And he has 39 years of fighting CPS and getting the children back. He also is he also does lawsuits for civil rights and your constitutional rights being broken by the CPS agency. My CPS worker committed perjury, but he can sue. So when you ask for an attorney, it's important that you ask 2 questions. 1, are you a juvenile family dependency lawyer and have fought CPS and got your children back? 2, have you ever done a lawsuit after your case is closed and sued CPS and won money back? And if the answer is yes to both questions, you got yourself an attorney. You should get 3 quotes to figure out how much the retainer is going to be. But that's how I would look for an attorney. But you already have one already, which is Vincent Davis. And if you want to talk to him for 15 minutes for free, all you have to do is call into the show or be a guest on my show. Now, further, if you want to talk to him for 30 minutes, he'll charge only $60. And it's scrolling along the bottom of my screen. You go to a website and you sign up for it there. So that is what you do there. Now, Amanda says, I called it. It says I can't get on the phone. Well, I don't understand that. Let me see what happened to my phone. It was connected here. Hold on 1 second and find out what's going on. I think I know what the problem is. I had another call logged in. That's what the problem is. Okay, that is called, I think that's, let me see something here. Okay. Let me see my Vonage call. You can call in your Vonage right now. The Vonage is the application I use. It shows that it's live and it should take your calls. Since we started late, I'm learning the show a little bit late. But I see you did call in at 8:04. Let me try to get you back here.
And you sign up for it. Hello?
Yeah, is this Amanda?
This is she.
Yeah, hi, this is Bob Pace. You tried to call me and your call didn't come through. So I'm calling you back.
Oh, well. I wanted to, I got somewhere Friday. I wanted to play the audio. It's kind of really, is it okay if I play it?
Well, I don't want to play the audios right now because we don't have much time. If you have a quick question, I can answer it. It's 57 minutes I've been talking, but I normally have to
just
turn.
wait for tomorrow.
Yes, please save it for tomorrow. But okay, I'll double check on your 15-minute, Tessa. I'll double check.
I have my 15 minutes tomorrow.
Okay, you have your 15 minutes tomorrow. Suzanne is having her 15 minutes tomorrow. I have to find out what happened with Tessa. I'll have to go back to my phone and see what happens. The ones that have talked to my show or called in as been a guest or talk on my phone, it's very important that you give me your full name and your email and your phone number, and you text it to me to 626-698-0990, and I'll double check that. Okay. Hello, Chub Baby. Chew Baby. Don't play any audios that would be used against you in court. Yeah, you got to be careful about that. Chew Baby is right. You got to be careful what you play on here, because sometimes social workers are listening to this. I've had 3 social workers on here. They're decent people, but out of the 700 some people, I've only had 3. So, and I've had no police on here. I wish the police or other social workers would call about their case. And so
I guess I'll re-listen to it.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Uh,
Yeah, I just gotta be careful about that. These people in this room come out, and I'm glad that they're listening to the podcast.
I'm just not exactly sure why the lady, she had an attitude problem when I called in Friday, and she basically said, how did I get her number? And she cannot give me any information because she wouldn't even look up the case number. And I told her,
Who is this? Who is this? Who is this?
I just found out that my kids, there was like some, I guess that's where the assertive placement, whatever placement it's called, where they hurry up and close the case.
Oh, they always try to do that. You have every right to call about your case, and you have every right. And again, if that's a social worker, you can ask, can I speak to your supervisor? If that one doesn't work, you ask, can I speak to their supervisor? If that doesn't work, then you ask to speak to the director. If that doesn't work, you ask to speak to the civil rights coordinator in Sacramento. Because I think you're in Missouri. So where's the capital of Missouri? St. Louis?
Jeff City.
What city?
Jefferson City.
All right, you call Jefferson City and speak to the civil rights coordinator and tell them your problem.
I'll be doing that tomorrow.
It's okay to go over each level and so forth. Well, I've already gone over 1 hour of my show. It's after 8 o'clock. I had Amanda from St. Louis, Missouri, talk on the show, and that was great. Apparently, we did connect there. Also, I want to thank Tessa. I will look to make sure that you get your 15 minutes with Mr. Davis. And Chew Baby, it was nice to hear from you. I have no idea where you're from. If you could let me know, that would be great. Chew Baby asked me, have you ever heard of Gordon Dotson and Gordon Law from here in Virginia? Okay, Chew Baby's from Virginia. No, I haven't heard of that guy. My attorney is there. What are you going to say, Amanda? Oh, Amanda says she's going to hang up. Okay. And so I'm going through, and I'm thanking Betty and Tessa and Chew Baby and Dizzy Dog and Michelle Hood. I think I got everybody covered. So I want to thank you all for listening. I want you to have a good night. This is Happy Holidays. I'll be again on tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And I will talk about your case. And I do care about you. Please stop. Don't stop fighting for your children. There is a way. You got to keep together on it. So there'll be a brief message from my attorney at the end of my podcast. So I'm going to say good night. And this is Bob Pace signing off.
Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Faith, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session for school, SKOOL, and this is the CPS school.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Join our school community for free to access weekly live Q&A sessions, or participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.